Hi, my name is Pat Haley. I'm a principal sales engineer here at Uptycs. At Uptycs, we provide an endpoint security analytics platform built on top of Osquery. Today, though, I'm here to talk about Mac security best practices. And for us, this is a conversation that we've been having more and more with our customers and other folks that we're talking to, as folks are looking to increase their security posture specifically for macOS devices in their enterprise. And frankly, it's a welcome change, as so often we've heard in the industry that macOS is inherently secure. And as we know, that assumption isn't necessarily the case. One unfortunate thing, though, is many endpoint security tools don't focus on macOS as a supported platform. Most are Windows heavy and dabbling in Linux, but macOS is often lagging behind. Osquery, on the other hand, is a tool that is built with cross-platform support in mind from the get-go. So today what we're going to do is talk about these security best practices. We're going to do a quick primer on Osquery so that we're all on the same page. We'll talk about specifically how Osquery can help get visibility into these controls. And then we'll spend just a minute talking about the Uptycs platform and where we fit into this ecosystem. So first, let's just review the 8 security best practices that we recommend. We have disabling remote login. We have enabling the gatekeeper control. Enabling the stealth mode option on your firewall. Configuring SIP, which is the system integrity protection. Enabling the application firewall on your Mac. Disabling screen sharing. Enabling auto update of your software. And then finally, enabling File Vault for disk encryption. These are 8 best practices that we recommend. They're not the only things that you should be doing, but it's a really good starting point. They're something that our customers have implemented with great success and have seen a dramatic decrease in the attack surface and a reduction in the number of alerts that have been caused by previous configurations of these controls. So now we know the best practices that we recommend. Let's take a look at Osquery and where that fits in. So a quick intro on Osquery is that it's an open source cross-platform endpoint agent originally created by Facebook. It supports macOS, of course, but also Windows and Linux. And what it does is transforms an endpoint into a relational database that you can ask a question of using standard SQL syntax. So for any data that we want to pull from an endpoint, we simply write that query, send it to Osquery, get the results back for our evaluation or analysis. 2 example queries that we can use here are listed up at the top. So first we have select star from processes. This gives me all of the data about processes currently running on my endpoint. So if I wanted to know the process name or the PID or resource utilization for a process, this type of query is going to give me that data for my processes on this endpoint. Really useful for things like investigations or IR scenarios. The second example query here is select hostname and CPU type from system_info. System_info is a table that gives you characteristics that describe the system that we're querying. So in this case, we're getting back hostname and CPU type, but I might get things like the UUID or other system characteristics back from querying this table. Really useful for something like an asset inventory or CMDB type use case. Now, Osquery obviously provides great visibility into your endpoints. So when you pair that with these security controls here, we're able to get visibility into how these controls are configured now and what we need to do to get them in line with best practice. So I've shared 2 sample queries down below that align with a couple of these controls. One is select global state and stealth enabled from ALF. ALF is the application layer firewall table. Global state tells us whether the firewall is on or off. Stealth enabled tells us whether the stealth option is on or off. And in this case, we want to get a 1 back for each of those, indicating that they are both enabled. A 0 back would mean that it would be disabled. Now, in the second query, where we have select remote login from sharing_preferences, this tells us the status of the remote login control. And in this case, we want to get a 0 back for disabled. A 1 back would indicate that it's enabled, and in most cases we don't want that to be. Now, one thing to mention is that these are our recommendations and how they should be configured. Your use cases, your environments might be a little bit different, so certainly use these queries to enforce the policies and controls that you need or that are appropriate as part of your security program. Now, you might be asking, why would you need a platform like Uptycs if Osquery already does all of this for you? And the one big answer to that question is that Osquery is fantastic, but it's designed to operate on a single machine. So you can ask these queries of a single host, but if you want to ask those of your entire fleet or get all that data back and manage that somehow, that's something that you need to construct and manage behind the scenes. Uptycs is a platform that does all of that for you out of the box. So we have the scheduled queries that collect all this data and a whole lot more. We provide real-time querying across your enterprise, as well as storage and historical querying of all that data for things like investigations within your enterprise. So hopefully you've learned a little bit here from this video. I really leave you with 2 takeaways. One is take a look at these best practices, determine whether or not you're implementing these, and really seriously consider how you can make changes to fall better in line with these. And 2 is to take a serious look at Osquery as a way to manage and get visibility into your environment in support of these controls. If you'd like to learn more about Osquery or the Uptycs platform, please just visit our website at uptycs.com.